college football playoffs are here.
We're
It's the week.
This weekend.
We are doing a series.
Friday, Saturday,
Sunday.
2 days. No Tuesdays.
No 2 days.
We're doing a
Tuesday.
series where we talk about every team and their chances to win the college football playoff national championship.
Osu.
We did 4 last week. We're talking about 4 this week, and then we're also going to cover all the games. Big picture, Ohio State. It's the Ohio State conversation. Is this team a real national championship contender?
Hell yeah, baby.
Ryan, you have the floor. You're an Ohio State fan.
Oh, yeah.
You've been riding this team 10-2 season
yeah.
so far. Missed the Big Ten championship for the 4th straight year. How are you a contender?
This is perfect. This is everything that lined up to this moment is absolutely perfect. Everything I've ever wanted, to be honest. That loss to Michigan, it's in the past. Nothing matters. Our seniors are already tweeting out like, "Be ready in Columbus is our last home game." After they couldn't get to the Big Ten championship. What?
They're tweeting?
Not tweeting. Like,
Get them off. Get Jack Sawyer off.
No,
They're Xing.
Yeah, they're
but they're saying show out because this is the last game they'll ever play in Columbus in the shoe. So I think they'll be ready. I think this Tennessee team, I think it's just going to be overwhelming in the first round for them. There's a lot going into it just because Ohio State lost against Michigan. If they beat that team in Michigan, we're like rolling. We're probably the second favorite, if not tied, to be the favorite, depending on what happened in the Big Ten championship. But Ohio State looks good. Ryan Day having some spectacular interviews, saying absolute nonsense and garbage. And
this is where they wanted to be.
This is where they wanted to be.
They accomplished their goal this season so far. Now it's time for phase 2.
His smart saying was, our goal was always to win a national championship. So everything before it meant nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We lost. We didn't go to the Big Ten championship.
That is what you've been saying, though.
No. For Ryan Day's sake, it is true. I think that Ryan Day has to bring us a natty, and this is the path. He needed to get punched in the... He needed a wake-up call. This was the final, like, you lose 4 years in a row to Michigan. You lose 4 years in a row, don't make the Big Ten championship. This is the wake-up call where every fan in the world knows you're gone, unless you make crazy run, and then maybe we lose in the natty to a crazy game. But Ohio State is a contender. I think we're ready to go. Will Howard, I think he can hang. I mean, they need to let him throw, let him get going, let him be the quarterback he can when he was on Kansas State. Like, let him run, let him play, let Jeremiah Smith cook. This is the team leading me to the promised land. I think they are going to win it all. Like, I really do think they're going to win it all. And I love how the path is the hardest. I really do. I want it to be battle tested. I don't want walks. I don't want fucking Boise State. I don't want freaking first round Clemson.
Good news
I don't want
is you
Clemson.
don't have either of those.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want
You've
Clemson
got
first round.
Tennessee.
I don't want
Then you got
SMU.
Oregon.
I want Tennessee, Oregon, into Texas, into Georgia.
No, you don't get Clemson first round. You might get them 3rd round though if you make it that far.
Yeah,
Mike, how do you feel about this? Oh, you have a question for him?
I have a quick question. So, theoretically, like, just we're talking Ryan Day's sake, because you said it was either like lose in a really tight game natty or win the natty, and that's the only 2 ways he stays. What if theoretically you play a tight game to Oregon and Oregon goes on to win the natty?
He's out.
Theoretically,
He's out.
really? Even if you lost to the perennial,
So he's done what he's done
national
best.
champion?
Win one playoff game every 4 years. Never win a Big Ten championship. Never be in a Big Ten championship in 4 years. Never beat Michigan in 4 years. And you haven't been in that. You've been in one natty and got blown out.
But if you lose to Oregon and they win, you know.
And by the way, that's also losing to Oregon. That's also losing to Oregon twice
Resign
in 1
him.
year.
That's
I want
true.
him to get a 6-year
That is a
contract.
Ryan Day special.
No, he loves
Sign the
doing that shit.
dotted line.
No, I will.
Well,
I will be sending in the papers for Ohio State if they lose a game that isn't a national
I'm not
championship.
saying it's a good thing to lose in any game ever, but I am saying, like, to lose to the national champion who's going to beat 99%.
We did that. We did that like 2 years ago.
No.
You know what I'm saying, though?
But we did that already.
I do agree. Certain fan bases, for them, it's a big thing to lose to the national champion.
Yeah.
Some programs that have never won a national championship in the CFP era should feel like that. And I actually love that he brought this up. Because for you, who's an Ohio State fan, you've won a national championship.
Yeah, we've been there. We've
right?
danced.
You've been in the national championship the last
Multiple
couple years.
times,
You've won
yeah.
playoff games. We've won. Clemson won multiple national championships. LSU won national championships. Us 3 on the pod know what it's like to win.
Yeah.
But for teams that have never experienced that, I do think it's important that if you're going to go out,
even
go out to the best.
Like a Texas, like losing to a team that makes it to a national championship.
They don't even win it. They
if
just
you
make it.
if you like walk by or like are in the same state as the team, like TCU, for example,
Yeah.
they were in the championship. They're from Texas, so that's a big win for those guys. Ohio State, the best defense in college football, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
I think they are.
For sure.
I think the stats do back it up. Their strength of schedule is extremely difficult. If you look at a lot of the other teams that have defenses up there, I've talked a lot about the Big Ten. Ohio State has played a lot of the best teams in the Big Ten, though. That's not really an argument. Oregon did score a lot, but it doesn't mean your defense isn't good. In national championship games or like when you guys played Georgia, the scores are in the 30s. Like that's just what happens.
So
when
like
you
3
have
first rounders.
That's what happens when you have these players. I really like how you can blow teams out. When you guys have a really, really strong defensive first quarter, your offense is never good in the first quarter.
Never.
And then really, really good offensive, end the half and then start the second half. You blow teams out, you walk away. You don't let Ryan Day get a chance to Ryan Day it.
Yeah, he loves Ryan Day in it.
But when I was looking at your scores, and then I went back to last season as well, and I looked at a lot of the games that you've lost in big spots, there's a theme that's carried over. So you haven't won a game by 3 points or less this season. Any game settled by 3 points or less has been a loss. You lost by 3 to Michigan. You lost by 1 to Oregon. You go back to your playoff losses, very similar things, where it's very, like, when in close games, in really close games, you really don't pull it out all that often when the other team's ahead by, like, a little bit and you have to come back. It's not a Ryan Day thing to do. Odds dropped from first to win the national championship pre-Big Ten or pre-Michigan loss to now fourth, given that you have probably the hardest route in the playoffs. I would say they are 100% a contender if they can start games strong. Like I think you can start strong against any team in first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and as long as it's not the other team goes into the fourth quarter with the lead or a 3-point game, I think you can legitimately do that 4 games in a row and win a national championship.
Yeah.
But I really, really, really do not believe that if you go into any fourth quarter down, you're going to be able to come back and win. That's just like, I looked at all of their games. All their losses are really, really close losses. They don't come back and win these games. So I would say they're obviously not the favorite for a reason. Really hard route, but this is not a team that you're going to ever want to cancel.
You think if we were in any other spot, we'd be tied for the favorite or maybe the favorite?
Yeah, I mean, if you're Penn State, you're 100%. If you're Penn State, you go SMU, Boise, and then the winner of the Georgia without the quarterback, Notre Dame, just being Notre Dame. I mean, there's no way you're not up there with Oregon and Texas.
Because you'll at least be in the game.
How do you feel, Mike?
I think I agree exactly in line with you. I think if, exactly as you put it, if you're in a situation to where coaching can lose you the game or win you the game, I don't know if I necessarily trust your head coach there.
You do know, you don't. You do know, you
yeah,
do know,
yeah,
you don't.
Yeah, I do.
You don't.
Yeah.
Right. I don't trust Ryan Day.
Yeah, there it is.
Stay with your chest.
More confidently, I do not trust him at all in those tight situations, especially if it's like, one of those 2-minute drill type things.
That makes 40,000 of us.
Yeah. Probably, honestly, probably right.
Yeah, 40 million. Could be big.
But I think you guys are really well disciplined. I think you guys have unbelievable talent on your team. And I think, in my genuine opinion, I think you guys are better than Oregon. And so I say behind Texas, I think it's us or you guys. Obviously, I'm going to lean on our team or on my team. But I think, defensively behind Texas, I think it's obviously Ohio State. I think your guys' defensive line is unbelievable. The amount of pressure.
To get hot too at the right time.
I mean, when you guys actually send a blitz and send a kind of actual pressure towards the quarterback, you get it pretty much every time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like a 9 out of 10 hit rate. It's pretty ridiculous. I think if there was to be a weakness that isn't really a weakness, it would probably be your secondary, which makes me a little bit worried because Nico is such a lethal passer. So, I mean, again, I don't think it's that big of a weakness. I think it's hard to find one in your defense. But if I were to, have to spot one, that's probably where I would go to. Mm-hmm. Again, I think because Nico is so good, so lethal, it makes me a little bit worried about that first round. Besides that, again, I restate, I think you're better than
Oregon.
I would love to go with you to a game in the semis.
You got a lot of work to do, brother.
But hey, we both got a long road ahead of us. So,
yeah. All right, Mario, round us out here. Contender or not? I think that's 3 contenders. From us.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if anyone's brave enough to say they're not actually a contender with Ryan Day.
No, there's no chance. There's no chance.
They're fringe for me, and I mean, contender is such a vague term.
It is.
It's fair.
Do they have the talent to win a national championship? Absolutely. I think anyone who watches college football knows this roster of a team is top 3 in the nation.
Probably Bama, to be honest.
But
yeah.
do I think, more so than not that they are going to win a national championship or have a good shot? No. So I don't know if that makes me think or say they're not a contender. Basically, my whole thing with Ohio State is they've been absolutely the same every year, and it's Ryan Day. I mean, it's like, it doesn't matter which way you cut it, which way you look at it. If you squint in your eyes and like, oh, maybe this looks better now. Like, it's just,
you know that meme of like the teacher that walks in the classroom every day and goes, hello.
Yeah.
And it's like the cut of it every year. It's like that's Ohio State team showing up.
That's Ohio State. They always have one of the top 3 best rosters. They always have these high expectations. They should be better than a lot of teams that they end up losing their one game to miss the Big Ten championship and not make the playoffs, but they just seemingly find a way in the big spots to lose. And it's just, it's Ryan Day. This team, for me, you look at them in certain games and this team looks like, I've watched a few Ohio State games where I'm like, wow, this team they might be the best in the country. But then they'll follow up next game and just start off slow against some team you've never heard of. And I mean, maybe they'll end up winning the game by 3 touchdowns, but this is a team that's they've never had that hot streak this year. Like, they've never had, even when they've been winning games, they haven't looked like that team that's in rhythm, in motion, ready to go. Like this, end of the season, South Carolina is a great example. A team that just looks like every game they come out, they're just firing on all cylinders. This is a team that you don't really know what you're going to get. They're good, so it's never going to be a bad product, but they could come out on fire and just dominate, or they could just come out, you're confused the entire game, and then all of a sudden it's a tight spot and they lose, and you're like, wow, we just lost to 7-5 Michigan.
Totally.
So yeah, I don't think they're gonna win as long as there's Ryan Day. But like I said, if somehow they win a national championship, I wouldn't necessarily be the most surprised because the team is that talented. But it's basically a team that's fighting against their coach.
I totally agree. I think it's along the lines of Vegas, kind of what you said. You wouldn't be shocked because every spread's either going to have them favorite or minor underdogs.
Yeah.
But it's also one of those, it's you're watching the same thing happen every single year, and then it's just happening again.
Yeah.
And also, this is a team, preseason top 2 and odds to win the Natty. They're in the 8-9 matchup for the playoffs. So it's they haven't exceeded.
I do think against Tennessee, though, I do think
we'll talk that game.
Yeah, but I do like them. I do like them early in the first round of the playoffs. But yeah, after that,
I love this spot because I think this is the first time because Ryan Day actually was really good as an assistant coach when he was under Urban Meyer and calling actually offensive plays. This is the first spot where Ryan Day is actually back against the wall, has to get the play sheet and actually be able to call plays.
Yeah.
So I kind of like it. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Because it's a win. It's the first time ever.
See if he can
even
coach.
before the season. No, even before the season, there was not a real narrative that he's going to be fired. It was kind of I was a running joke still, waiting to happen.
You've been yelling that for
it was
3
a little
years.
bit of a long shot. Yeah.
No, I've been still saying it every year, but it still hasn't been the narrative.
But
now that
now
it's the narrative, he knows it too. People were talking about the fans booing him, which isn't going to happen during the game. But this is the call. What you're going to call go all in max bet.
No, I mean he has to. I'm just let me see it to believe it.
Oh, trust me, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
All right.
So until I see it.
Yeah, there you have it. Ohio State. They're playing a big game this week. We're going to cover that game in a separate episode. But sounds like everyone wouldn't be shocked if they won the Natty, but not a lot of confidence in the coach.
Yeah.